Okay, we're here again on global politics, and we're homing in on protests all across Africa. The one in Nigeria started yesterday. And joining me in the conversation is Kule Williams and Mustafa Jinodu. You guys are very welcome to another show.
Wow, very welcome. Thank you very much. Okay, so we're going to start by talking about what's going on in the ground in Nigeria. And you guys are in Lagos. I'm here, so I don't really know much, but I know that this protest thing, which started in Kenya and Uganda, has spread to Nigeria. And I've been saying before that it's not enough just to protest. You have to also know and what are your objectives. My objective is that in Kenya, Uganda, and Nigeria, there needs to be a movement in which we realize that it's not just about the president or about corruption. It's about the mechanism which starts the corruption and which infects the president too, which is a white supremacist capitalistic system, which is corporate, which puts a lot of pressure and buys off our leaders to keep them corrupt, and also takes most of the revenue from our resources to pay back for IMF loans. That's what leads to corruption and leads to things in Kenya in which they start charging you money for sanitary pads, extra money for that, extra money for basic things. What are your thoughts, Kunle? Yeah, and let us know how things are going on ground in Lagos and Nigeria. Yeah.
Yeah, I had a drive around here this morning. Victoria Island is very quiet, although there are one or two police vehicles around where they normally wouldn't be. There was a heavy military presence in Lekki, but I've not gone down there. And that's what's a new Wolverine Deadpool movie, but I think I have to wait.
Like him, I'm just growing my beard. Go
ahead. so before we go into all the things that people feel disgruntled about the government about, I want to say that when these elections were taking place in July last year, I will not say who or what, but I will say
I saw it on your ISL page, and I trolled everybody on your behalf. Go ahead.
Yes. Now, to be fair, people said, "Oh, Tinubu rigged." Whether he rigged or not, a substantial number of people voted for him. A substantial number of people said they wanted to vote for him. Yeah.
Yep.
That's first of all. Second of all, in a speech, unless it's AI or it was doctored, he said in a speech he wants to slow down the growth of the economy. He's going to increase taxes and he's going to reduce the purchasing power of Nigerians. He said
he's going to reduce. So here's the thing. So here's the thing.
Unless it's AI.
So Kule, Kule is true.
So people should not first of all complain when he tells you the truth, because that's actually what is happening.
Yeah. No, he said so, and even a lot of my Yoruba friends, I told them.
Now the second issue.
Sorry, very quickly, this austerity thing. A lot of Yoruba guys who voted for him just because he's Yoruba, they said, he's doing responsible governance. Responsible governance. What about infrastructure? Continue, Kule. Sorry. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Go ahead. You're good. Are you good? His Kunle crashed, and he was on a good roll too.
I think that's
painful though. He'll be back. Don't worry. Continue. Actually, Kunle was on fire. Continue. He'll come back in. Don't worry.
I understand his line of thought. Okay, I think he's back now. So Kunle, continue.
Oh yeah, Kunle's back. Kunle, continue. I was saying, Kunle, you are on fire. Keep it going, man. Yeah. Oh dear. Like Kunle says all the time, oh dear.
Well,
go ahead, Kunle.
I mean, let me go on to say that another.
No, continue your thought about everybody who voted for Tinubu. They voted for Tinubu, and he said he was going to cut money from stuff. Sorry, go ahead. Yeah, okay, yeah.
Yeah, so people voted for Tinubu, and even if it wasn't enough to win, it was close enough as to for us to deserve this government. We deserve this government. Okay.
Yeah.
Second of all, there were red flags. There were red flags. He was convicted. He had a civil action, a criminal action taken against him in Chicago, in which he was able to plea bargain and forfeit money, $150,000 or so. That was for heroin money that was in his account, and he said he don't know where the money came from, and so therefore he wasn't criminally convicted, even though everybody knew about his reputation before, during, and after. I don't know the truth. I don't know the truth.
No, where there's smoke, there's fire. So many people have told the story, and there are stories here.
Everybody make their judgments. Everybody made their judgments about it. But now a significant number of Nigerians are now hoping, at that time, that somebody that was suspected of being a drug runner was competing against somebody who was a chairman, of a generator company that makes generators. And they were saying that they are hoping for one of these people to solve Nigeria's power problems and criminal problems.
Oh my goodness, man.
Those are the two people. They were hoping that these people would solve Nigeria's energy problem. And so I don't blame those people. I don't blame them at all. We have to look at ourselves. Why are we thinking like this? Why are we bringing this kind of situation upon
Well,
us?
let me tell you why we're thinking about it.
Why are we bringing, I mean, we saw government padding where people were, where they wanted to charge $120,000 for a street on the budget. We saw the scandal with Dangote saying that he's not allowed to process Nigerian crude. We heard about the processed products that are coming to Nigeria belong to are being done from a refinery in Malta, in which Tinubu and his family members are shareholders.
Yeah.
So this corruption runs.
It runs deep, but here's what I would say. How do you go from
Very quickly,
well,
at least the accusation of it runs deep.
Yeah, but Kunle, can I ask you a question? How do you go from being
accusations run deep?
Yeah. Here's the thing. How do you go from being a university student in Chicago and then you get caught and you get fined and it was involved in drugs? Then eventually you become president of the US and the US is backing you. The US backed
the US
Tinubu.
is backing
They even told Nigerians that
if he doesn't do what they say, they're going to take
and
him
my
down.
argument is they had blackmailing him and he is an agent of them. I don't care what anybody says. That's a theory that I will work on improving later. He doesn't know where I live, thank God. So let's continue. Okay, go ahead. All right, Kunle, continue.
Well, I'm not going to make the accusation. It's a speculation. This is all speculation.
Yeah. You're right. You're right. It actually
is. Let's just say for instance, this is all
what about
speculation.
What about lying about degrees?
Now there are certain
Kunle,
leaders.
what about lying
there are certain
about
potential leaders? If
does he have a degree? Does he have a degree? Sorry to cut off. Does he even have a degree? He lied about his degree. He lied about his degree. So you know what they say, where there's smoke, there's fire. Sorry, Kunle. Sorry, Kunle.
No, but he has school set. I think you're needing. Sorry, I've been having this cold. My children.
Yeah, but he said he had a master's from Chicago or something. I don't know. Anyway, maybe he can pay them $1 million.
Not in any doubt. I'm not going to question his education, but I'm going to say that if you had Fashola running for APC, this wouldn't be an issue. At local government, APC is actually quite good at local government level. I'm not going to just throw the baby out with the dishwater and say the whole
but Kunle, there's a bigger problem. There's a bigger problem.
And these are speculations.
Okay, but Kunle,
they are not actions. So we cannot act on them or call him out on them unless we take action.
I agree with you, Kunle. So I'm going to go to Falabi, but here's what I want to say before I go to Falabi, Kunle. I think the bigger problem is that the U.S. and Britain control whoever becomes the president of Nigeria, and that control goes down to local government level too. So what I'm trying to say is that we shouldn't too much care about who becomes president or becomes local government, because in the end of the day, until
and who controls U.S. and Britain?
Who controls U.S. and Britain? Nobody. U.S. controls them.
No, somebody controls. Which country?
The bank, Western Bank, Western banks. Western banks, the Western banking system, which is why.
Which country? I'll ask you again. Which country controls?
Oh, it's not a country. It's a transnational. There's no one country. It's a transnational thing. But I would say that it's the U.S. It's the U.S. and Great Britain.
Which country forces the U.S. to follow its own foreign and domestic policy?
Are you talking about Israel?
Which country? Yes.
Okay, but my argument is that it's circular, because Israel is actually created by Britain and America to make it look like they're the ones doing it, but it's really an American agenda. Because Israel and Britain and America founded Israel. So my argument is that Israel is actually an American-British satellite, and they just make it look like they're different. But I understand what you're saying. Formally, Israel is doing the controlling. That's an interesting point.
The last time that they tried to stop Israel from taking this much dominance was JFK.
And he got killed. He got killed.
He was trying to stop Israel having.
And they killed Sadat.
And he got killed.
They killed Sadat.
Some say that was why
they killed Sadat when Israel and Egypt were about to make a peace agreement.
They killed Gaddafi.
And they killed Gaddafi.
All the good leaders they killed or tried to kill.
Okay.
And then they put in these puppet regimes that they have power over, bad leadership, and then they say it's our fault.
I agree. We have to move on, but thank you for your point, and it goes back to the point before I go to Folabi, which is why even when you're looking at Tinubu or Fashola, all these guys, you have to remember that Israel indirectly and America and Britain are controlling our political game, and we need to break off from them. We need to give up on this American and British, what they call it, when you love something, philia. Americo-British philia, Anglo-American philia. I'm serious. We got to break off.
It's not really American-British philia because it's something worse.
Western
something
philia.
dark, because the American and British people don't necessarily follow or accept all this nonsense.
Yeah, but it's the government. And if you look inside the U.S., in the U.S., people buy guns and kill each other. And then our country sends bombs. So it doesn't matter what Americans are like. They are controlled by the government, which is an elite force. There's a gun problem in America. Americans are not good people. They're shooting each other. They're killing each other. If I go to a party and ask a girl for her phone number, somebody shoots me in the head. That's the problem with America, which is an extension of what America, which is a very bloody, violent, imperialistic country, same as Great Britain. It's only that they do it with flash.
Those are problems that can easily be eradicated with the change of a law. All it takes is a change.
Yeah, but more than law.
What about Australia? Okay, let's say all over Western countries had problems. All it needed was a change.
Okay, Kool-Aid, here's the problem. It's now a pathology. Kool-Aid, here's the problem.
Lobbyists who will spend so much money getting their politics.
Kool-Aid, here's the problem.
I'm taking control of pure democracy from the people.
Kool-Aid, here's the problem. Kool-Aid, here's the problem. America is now a lawless country. Black boys are buying AK-47s. You're not allowed to buy those in America, and shooting people and killing people. And even when they go to jail, they don't care because they want more money. They want the US dollar. So what I'm saying is that even if you change the laws, we now have a society of psychopaths. And by definition, psychopaths don't follow the law. The bigger problem is now, how can we change the law?
You can change the gun culture overnight. They did so in Australia. Australia had the same gun culture that America had. They had a similar amount of shootings.
There's a bigger difference. America has
30 years ago.
America
they had the same problem. Small
Kool-Aid,
number of
Olivia,
people,
let me tell you
big
something.
Country.
Kool-Aid, let me tell you something. The U.S. is pathologically violent, and it's part of their culture, and it's also an anti-Black nation, and it's built off of slavery. It's a slavery and white supremacy are a religion here. It's very hard to break religions. It's like telling people that you will no longer be Catholic. The Catholics will never stop being Catholics.
No,
Americans will never.
Americans will never stop being.
No. White supremacy is a religion. Westerners and Americans would rather destroy the world to be supreme.
The Catholic Vatican is at variance with a lot of things America is doing.
Yeah, but what I'm saying is that they still have devoted followers. So what I'm saying is that there are still some fundamentals. Like if you tell Nigerians to not believe,
idea of Christianity is different from Christianity.
Let me go deeper. If you tell Nigerians and Catholics to stop believing in God and to stop believing in love your brother, they won't. Same thing with what I'm trying to say. It's a satanic movement in America and in the West, in which they are white supremacists. And if you tell them to stop worshiping whiteness, they won't do it, regardless of the law. That's my argument. I can't tell you to stop believing in God.
There is that. They believe Jesus is a white person.
Yeah.
They believe religion of Christianity.
And they believe that we are animals. They believe we are animals.
The first complete Bible was written in Ethiopia. They still believe that they brought Christianity to Africa with the Bible that was 600 years younger than the Ethiopian
Christianity
Bible
started in Ethiopia.
In Africa.
Yeah.
So yes, the contradictions and hypocrisy is very, very, it's huge. And it's the most disgusting thing I've watched so far this year has been the French Olympics. It's a celebration of everything that's disgusting about Western
sadism and
a lot of it that people don't even accept it.
Yeah, they're doing it because
they're using LGBTQ to mock traditions and values. Watching an Italian woman get beaten up by a man in a boxing contest. Watching Israel compete, and watching Russia being banned. The last time Russia was banned was 1980.
Yeah,
and that was a bad thing. So it's just a celebration of supremacy, arrogance, racism, intolerance, divisiveness, abusiveness, colonialism. Everything that is abhorrent about the West is being celebrated in that state
by the same people. By the same people who were kicked out.
Absolutely.
That's typically French.
Yeah, and also by the same people who were kicked out by Nigeria and Burkina Faso and stuff. And this is what they wanted to do. And also, they argue that it's based on Greek culture. No, the Olympics is Spartan. It's not about Bacchanal. It's not about hedonism. It's about discipline, eating properly, sacrificing comfort.
It's
That thing
about
was
Western
so
supremacy government saying, yeah, we're in control and we're the big. The Western democracies, so-called Western democracies, are saying, "Hey, yo, I'm Billy Big Bollocks," and all the crap saying you just have to accept.
All right, Kule.
And
Kule, I'm actually enjoying this, Kule, but we have to move on. I don't think we're going to do South. We're not going to do South
That's
Africa
what
today.
it's all about.
Yeah, we'll continue, but we're not going to do South Africa today because we've gone on a very long. This is good. I like what we're doing. I like the developments. But let's let Afolabi. Afolabi has been biting his fingernails. He wants to jump in. Give us your thoughts in general, especially in relation to the Nigeria issue and to the issue of where we need to start taking control of our own economies and stuff and fight white supremacy. Thank you.
Basically,
Thank
I
you.
think
Also, Kule, nice. You shaved your face, Kule. You look nice. Yeah.
leaving the
Go ahead,
issue of
Afolabi.
credibility aside, I think why most of the protesters and Nigerians are really very upset and annoyed is the fact that the very leaders that expect us to be, sacrificial in our living and in our means are being very profligate and wasteful. The cost of governance is so annoying on frivolities. And that's the main thing that is annoying Nigerians. And then again, the issue of the fuel subsidy, it could have been handled better. Maybe they could have done it in phases. I mean, they knew that this fuel subsidy removal would affect the price of virtually everything. So they should have put in a plan to ensure that the masses have a soft landing and it doesn't hit people as hard as it is. And then you look at
there was a plan.
Which was what?
Go ahead.
There was a plan. The plan was for Dangote to use a crude oil, local crude oil, and to refine it so that it would stay cheap for Nigerians. That was the intention.
Yes.
But what happened was they said that if he refines all the crude oil, it will be a monopoly. So he has to refine crap crude oil from from America or from
Kule, can I say something?
Russia or
Kule, sorry, let me interject. Let me interject. Let me interject.
Okay.
Let me interject. Very quickly. So going back to what you said, Kule, sorry, Afolabi. So here's the problem. IMF, Nigeria owns IMF. And if you have guys like Dangote using local oil and stuff like that for development, it cuts into the margin of the IMF for which Nigeria has to pay back. And I think that's why they made up whatever excuse they wanted to attack it, because they want to make sure that they get every penny of Nigerian resources.
No, because what was happening, there's only 300, he only needs 300,000 barrels a day.
But hold on, Kule, I know what you said. So let's go to Afolabi because we're going to continue this. Kule, I want Afolabi to finish. Okay, I want Afolabi to finish his point, but the only point I'm making is that every penny,
yes,
every penny
has some deals, but
yeah, but even
we had a way to get past.
But here's my thing: the pinch from the Western economies now is so much that they want to make sure that every ounce of Nigerian resources is accounted for, even if it's a small amount. But we won't argue that now. Afolabi, continue your point. I'm not going.
The truth of the matter is
an alternative theory too.
They are frustrating Dangote's efforts to get crude locally. And the reasons are not far-fetched. There's a cartel of independent marketers who are feeding fat on these things and don't want Dangote to enter the market. Secondly, Nigeria has pledged future proceeds from crude on loans that they have taken from outside. So
IMF, that's my point.
Yeah, so they're going to make it difficult for Dangote to play in it. And Dangote is going to force the prices down. So
I think Dangote needs to run for president and fund his own campaign. Go ahead. Although that's the problem. He'll become a dictator.
I'd rather not. I'd rather he didn't. I'd rather he didn't.
Yeah, I'm just joking.
Away from
I'd rather
I prefer him.
Mustafa, apart from
Dangote, that's a story for another day, but I don't think he's a politician.
Dangote is a private businessman. We have refineries that are decrepit, they are moribund, they are out of installed capacity. We have spent billions of dollars trying to fix them, and yet they are not fixed. What is the government doing about that? They're going to boost our capacity to produce. Let's leave Dangote out of the picture. And this is
now you're going back towards socialism. Which means that Nigerian resources belong to Nigeria. They don't belong to Dangote. They don't belong to the government. They belong to the country. Continue.
The government should do its own bit to ensure transparency, and then they should shrink government expenditure. Because if you're asking people to make concessions and the government is being so profligate and wasting resources on frivolities, it's going to annoy the common man, especially when food inflation is at an all-time high of about 40%. So these are the annoyance of the average person. People cannot eat.
Yes.
People cannot buy common basic commodities. You are talking about toilet roll. People can't even have. I know people that have not eaten since 2 days ago, and they smile and walk about.
I hate to jump in, but let me ask you the question. We have to overthrow the government because how much is one stick of suya now? One stick of suya is 500 naira. For one stick. Oh my God. I hope that Guinness is. I hope Guinness. How much is big stout? How much is big stout? How much is big stout? I hope it's not 500 naira or 2,000. How much is it?
Big stout. It's like 1,000 naira, 800 naira, I think.
Yes, it's like 1,000 naira around my area.
No.
Yeah.
Okay, so you know what? We need to go buy
a tin of sardines is 1,300 naira.
No. This is ridiculous. It's ridiculous.
Small Indomie. The small Indomie is about 350 naira. No. It used to be 50 naira.
That's ridiculous. So I remember when I went to ISL, when my mom would give me 5 naira a day, and when I come home, I'm full. This was 1987. 5 naira was rich.
Mustafa,
in 1987. You could buy a Peugeot.
1987, it was 1988 that it was 5 naira.
Oh, I can't buy anything.
And also, 2 naira was enough to eat rice, beans, dodo, egg, and salt.
You could buy
2 naira.
You could buy Peugeot for 5,000 naira. Peugeot.
I could carry change and buy suya after school at TMN.
Of course, yes.
one naira with 50 kobo, I can buy two what was that thing? What was those mints? The mints with the tiger on them.
With 1 naira 50 kobo.
Those Trevor.
You take a babe to Uncle George's and buy meat pie for her with 1 naira 50 kobo.
Oh yes.
Back in the days.
With 50 naira, you could buy shawarma. With 50 naira, you could buy shawarma. I'm serious. Okay, so thank you guys. So we're gonna wrap up.
There was a day that my uncle told my grandmother, do you believe that one day in Nigeria, to buy one full chicken is going to cost 60 naira? And he said it like it was doom and gloom.
Like 60 naira. Man, let me
and my grandmother was like,
all right, guys. So we're going to wrap up, guys, but I think that what we can come to
69 for chicken.
This is funny. This has been our best show, but I will conclude that these riots, or not riots, but these protests and stuff.
Chicken is now 11,000 naira.
Yeah. So these protests are in response to cost of living going and everything. And as Afolabi said, our government is perfectly wasting. Then also, like Kunle said, we have to pay back loans to IMF, and we're also being corrupt. The corruption has to end. Later on, we'll address the IMF thing. That's more complicated. The corruption has to end, and we need to start fixing our refineries and our things, and the government needs to use anything that deals with minerals, like the minerals in the northern part of the country, or with oil and stuff like that. It needs to be run efficiently, and it needs to feed the whole country. It doesn't just go up to Abuja into the politicians' pockets. Quickly, Kunle, your thoughts. Keep it to 1 minute, then we'll end with Afolabi.
I'm sorry, but our refineries are fine.
Okay, so it's corruption then.
Port Harcourt is not running,
Port Harcourt is not running. Port Harcourt is not running a few weeks ago. They just did sabotage.
Oh, okay. Port Harcourt
maybe Portugal has been sabotaged.
It's not that they don't. It's not that there's a problem. There's no technical problem.
No, these sabotage.
I agree.
Being sabotaged.
I agree with you, Kunle. For the first time, we all agree.
The reason they can't sabotage Dangote's refinery is because it's a private refinery. But
it's probably owned by a
private refinery. They still try to sabotage.
Yeah, he probably has G. He probably has G. He probably has G and Putin providing him with security. I'm just kidding. But anyway, Kunle, good point.
Solution. Sorry, I think the solution is to sell off.
You're good.
Sell Nigerian refineries to private owners. I think that's the solution. I
But you
may
have to,
be wrong.
but you have to
so
be
that they
clear.
work.
But you have to make sure that the private
And
owner
they
you're
keep them
sending.
away from government hands. Put them in government hands, they make sure it doesn't work. They make money from that.
Here's the problem. You might be selling it to someone who's also an agent of the West or an agent of, you don't know who. So you have to make sure that whoever it is private, that China does this. China is actually a capitalist country, but the government still owns everything, but it leases out the resources to private into 20 years. And if they mess up, they lose the lease. What would you think? Yeah. That's how China works.
Yes,
China,
you can sell it off to a Chinese company or Saudi
There's
Arabia.
also something unique about our crude.
no, lease it. Lease it. Don't lease it.
Our crude is the best.
Go ahead. Yeah.
Nigerian crude oil is the best quality crude oil in the world. It needs the least amount of effort for refining. That's why it's called sweet Bonnie light. America uses that fuel for its jet fighters. They use the fuel from crude for their jet fighters. No other crude oil is good enough when they're refining it. It's the best. It's not, we don't produce the most, but we produce the best.
Because of the quality of it, so the soil and everything. Okay. From the Delta. So thank you guys. Yeah. The only reason I'm ending this, I'm not trying to interrupt you. I'm not trying to, so this is part one. We're going to continue this tomorrow, then we're going to continue with South Africa tomorrow. Okay. So I feel like, thank you, Kule. I'm not cutting you up because you've done great. And you've given me knowledge that I never knew. Like we have the best crude oil and it's funding, they're using it for American jet fighters. That's a brilliant insight. Thank you, Kule. I feel like we take us out with
minutes, though.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So I'll let you and Afolabi go back and forth. I'll watch. Afolabi, what are your thoughts? Then Kunle can continue. Yeah. Okay.
So like I said, it's been relatively peaceful.
We have 6 minutes. I'm not cutting you guys short. Continue.
Yeah. So it's been relatively peaceful where I am in Lagos. No bonfires, no violence, but there's heavy presence of military.
Wait, Afolabi, you said no bonfires, so there's no Guy Fawkes Day. Oh no.
Not at all. So, but fixing Nigeria is
we saw some. Did you see about the anti-protest protesters?
Yes.
Oh my God.
Did you hear about the anti-protest protesters?
That I heard about them. I'm sure they're being funded by government.
Not to protest.
They're being funded by government.
Yeah, but then the government now didn't pay them the money that they were supposed to get paid. So they started complaining and joined the protesters.
Oh my God.
Some other protesters got interviewed, started complaining about being hungry and joined the protesters. Then I think in some parts of Lagos,
they were protesting on credit.
That they joined the protesters. They talked to the police and the police joined the protest. This government is so corrupt that when it pays people to go out and talk nonsense and corruption, the people who were paid to corrupt people stole corrupt money, so they couldn't even exercise their act of corruption because at the point when the money moved, it disappeared.
Look at what Lagos State has done. Lagos State has.
And that's just hilarious.
Lagos State is telling us that because of some Oro festival, we shouldn't go and protest. Look at the angle they brought in. Because of some Oro festival, we shouldn't protest. Some masquerade is coming out. I think that's politically sponsored as well. You didn't hear about the Oro thing.
And it's not working because all these people are hungry.
Of course.
Other people say don't protest, they're hungry.
The masquerades too are hungry.
They will starve before I starve. So they should be doing their nonsense. When it comes to their mind that they're actually killing themselves, they will calm down and do the right thing.
Of course.
They don't have to fight them.
Of course.
We don't realize that we actually own this country. We don't realize it. We still think that we have some of the people at the top level still think it's under military rule, that we don't have any power. We have power.
But why is the president powerless to stop the sabotage of these refineries? Why is he powerless?
Because he belongs to IMF and because they caught him for dealing in Chicago. That's my theory, but continue. Yeah.
Does he have the political will to stop it? Was he? Or there's a question. Some say
I think he does. I think he does.
I'm not making any.
I think he knows these people. Unless if he's a shareholder,
if he's a shareholder on a refinery that we're importing low quality crude oil from in Malta at the expense of Dangote's refinery.
So Kule, very quickly, sorry, Kule, 5 seconds. Kule, 5 seconds.
Political will?
Kule, no, 5 seconds. It's like Ramaphosa in South Africa. He's the president, but he works for mine companies that are British mine companies, and he's one of their CEOs. It's the same thing with Tinubu. He's actually part of
he
the
needs to
people that we're
prove
trying to
himself
fight.
by he said he agreed. He said that he would allow Dangote to now do 300,000 barrels a day. He said, I don't know if he's
you know what
done
Dangote reminds me of Trump.
Let him put his words into
Dangote
action.
reminds me of
Let
Trump.
us
He's an outsider.
Let him. He needs to get confidence.
No, but
he needs to do what he said.
But he has said it already.
He said he would let him import crude and refine crude, Nigerian crude. He should do it. That's the
first step. How much
step.
time left? You guys can continue, but how much time?
The first step is doing it.
2 minutes. Oh, you guys continue. I like it.
Continue. If he does it, he will give some confidence back to everyone. Even me, I'll calm down. Everybody will calm down. You know.
Yeah.
But he needs to at least do that. That's the first step he needs to do, to put Dangote refinery back on what's supposed to be doing. That's the first step. Let's all see if he can even do that first step. Then I'll calm down.
I think they are scared that when Dangote enters the market, he'll crash the price of petrol. And that will not play into the hands of independent marketers. And a lot of these guys who have been feeding fat would begin to feel it. I guess that's why. Otherwise,
and I follow me. That's why they killed Abacha. Abacha flooded the market with Indian rice to bring down the price. Once you start doing things that help the poor, I'm not an Abacha fan, but once you start doing things that do that, you become enemies, because these independent markets, they work for foreign consortiums. Continue, Afolabi.
Yeah, sure. So I believe if they start to release Nigerian crude to Dangote, the situation would increase significantly, but they will still find a way of frustrating that guy. See what they said. They said his own crude is inferior to the one they're importing. After much tests in the laboratory, it was obvious that his was significantly better.
Yeah, because
were importing.
It goes back to what Kunle said. Nigerian.
They actually lied.
Yeah,
local.
Caught them in their lie.
Yeah, it goes back to what Kunle said. Our crude oil is of higher quality than the outsiders. So it shows you that Tinubu is working for outsiders to make it look like their
refining was absolute nonsense and they couldn't refine properly. That's what they're trying to say.
Oh, yeah. That's like remember when Libya used to refine our oil? Why must they refine it for us?
Mustafa, we have less than a minute. Maybe you should take us out now.
No, let Kunle take us out. Kunle take us out.
Kunle take us out.
Kunle, you have to end in 1 minute.
All right, well, let's hope for peace and calm in Nigeria, and let's hope that the government is able to turn itself around and start doing the right thing. God bless us, God bless the people of Nigeria, and God bless our president, because he still is our president.
And like Tiny Tim said, God bless everyone, all of you. God bless everyone.
Doing business with Talking with everybody here.